God's sake.
Good evening everyone and welcome to the Bexhill Town Council on Wednesday the 24th of June, 6 PM. Right, I'd like to just start with, if we can all have our phones on aeroplane mode please. It interferes with the cameras. We have fire exits just on to my right, one just through there, and toilets straight in front of me. Thank you very much. I will start with public participation. Do we have anyone in the public who would like to? No. Thank you. Apologies for absence. I have Councillor Goss, Councillor Lee, Councillor Ruston, Councillor Winter. I believe that's all we have. Maybe got a few councillors that are late, but let's see. Thank you. I'd like to receive declarations of pecuniary and non-pecuniary interests. Councillor Drayson.
Member of Rotherham District Council, but specifically for number 17, as chairman of the planning committee, I will leave when we discuss 17.
Thank you.
Member of Rotherham District Council, and I don't think it's relevant, but I'm a trustee of the Men's Shed, and I'm also on the board of the Coombe Valley Country Park, which is relevant to the Doomsday Project item.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Wilson.
Pecuniary chair for item 12, which I will leave the room, and item 17B, which I will stay.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Councillor Jekyll.
I too am a director of the Coombe Valley Park.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Chair's announcements. I'm going to announce these actually, rather than waiting for 6. We have there are many events, but just because they're quite near, on Saturday we have the Home Call Gardens in Cranston Avenue. If anyone would like to visit, it's at 1:30. I believe Council Plymouth begins at number 1 or number 80.
I haven't got the details on me, but
it's either 1 or 80,
yeah,
but it starts,
exactly.
You'll see it through the road. I visited it for the last 3 years, and yeah, very nice event. And the Sidley Hub is opening. I believe I'm opening that at 12 o'clock on Sunday. Ooh. So if you'd like to be there, then that is Councillor L.
And I believe the Philharmonic's going to be there as well.
Yes. Yeah. So details there. There are other events, but these are quite near to today, so I just thought I'd mention them. Right, 5. So to approve the minutes of the meeting of Wednesday, the 20th of May. Do I have a proposer for that, please? Yep, we got a seconder. So Councillor Flynn, Councillor Drayson, and can I have a show of hands, please, for that? Thank you. Anyone against? Anyone abstaining?
One abstention, Chair.
Thank you. And then
We'll do the two.
okay, that's fine. And then B is to approve the minutes of the extraordinary meeting on Wednesday, the 3rd of June, 2026. So, Councillor Drayson, do I have a seconder? Councillor Byrne, and can I have a show of hands for that, please? Thank you. Anyone against? Anyone abstaining? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Well, we'll do the signing now.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, that's fine. That's the extraordinary first. Then. Okay, and the slightly longer job is the main meeting. Sorry. It's a long one. There's a lot of discussion at this meeting. Too much for the names. Show your pen.
We've done this one before. Oh, this one.
And that's the last page. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Number 6 is to receive an update on the work of the town mayor. I have sent that out to to everyone. If any of the public would like that, feel free to email and I can send that over to you. I'm not going to read it out. And there are obviously parts in there that Deputy Mayor has done as well. So, thank you. To receive recommendations from committees, I believe that's later on.
There's nothing is on the agenda elsewhere.
Thank you. To consider appointing the 9th member of Finance and Audit Committee. So, Councillor Drayson.
I'd like to put myself forward for that.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for Councillor L? Are you seconding Councillor Drayson for that? Yeah, thank you. Can I have a vote for Councillor Drayson, please? Anyone against? Thank you.
Not because it's Councillor Drayson, but I believe, as I said at the last meeting, 9 is too many for one committee.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so
Too many.
Thank you. So, Councillor Drayson, you're now a member of the Finance Committee.
Thank you.
Reports from councillors.
sorry,
Sorry, 9. Yeah. To consider amending the terms of reference document on ex officio voting rights, which is Appendix C. So it's. Would anyone like?
this one. Yeah,
Is that one, isn't it? Not that one.
that's the one. Yeah.
Would anyone like to comment on Councillor Flip?
Perhaps you might just like to explain what we are changing it from to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So this was asked in the. This was asked by, I believe, Councillor Wilson.
I was trying to clarify matters after discussion at council. So, for example, under the current terms of reference 4.1b, it says the mayor and deputy mayor will be ex officio members without voting rights. And it says that in quite a few places in the terms of reference, basically wherever ex officio members stand. And as I've explained in the paper, that, you know, if that's what you want, that's absolutely fine. But given that it was clear the custom and practice that have been mixed in the past with maybe some voting rights in the past, again, not a problem. As the report explains, you have a free hand here. Legislation is open about whether they have voting rights or not. It's a matter for the council whether they have voting rights or not. This paper simply wishes to clarify the matter once and for all, so there's no further confusion. So either stick with the wording you have, which is mayor and deputy mayor will be ex officio members without voting rights, or the mayor and deputy mayor will be ex officio members, full stop. So one has voting rights and one doesn't. That's what the report explains.
I think the ambiguities come around, whereas councillors, regardless of what position they hold, appoint themselves or get appointed to a committee. And then, once they get elected to chair of the council or deputy chair of the council, they stood on that committee still as councillors with voting rights. Their voting rights were never taken away as a result of being mayor or deputy mayor. They were never given to a mayor or deputy mayor should they wish to attend any meeting. So it was given the freedom, the mayor and deputy, to attend any meeting they want to, but they couldn't have voting rights unless they were specifically a member of that committee in their own right. And as long as that's staying the same.
Yes.
So essentially, well, if you make the amendment, that will be the effect of it. If you make the amendment, but it's up to you whether you want to make the amendment or when. But the point being, because the sentence says will, rather than, for example, may, will is an absolute concept. So when this was written, the author writing will, their intention would have been that they would not have voting rights. However, it's clear that the will of council is that not be the case, which is why I'm suggesting that you either amend your terms of reference or they don't have voting rights. Those are your choices. Do one or t'other. It's up to you.
Councillor Wilson?
So it's pretty clear in my mind that when the council was first started, the mayor and deputy did have voting rights in an ex officio role. In year 3, a new administration, it was motioned to change that because it was impacting the committee structure. So we changed it, and according to this Appendix C, which is the scheme of delegation, it's all above board until you get to Engagement and Communications Committee, 8.1b, which says unless they are members of the Community Committee.
Yeah.
Now, the Community Committee used to be Engagement and Communications Committee, and it was renamed because the Community Committee didn't make any sense. So I believe all we need to do is delete in 8.1b unless they are members of the Community Committee, because then the ex officio is the same through all of the committee structures.
That's fine. Can I just clarify one thing, Chair, sorry, through you? So that would be clear, no voting rights to any committees if you leave it as it is with that one change that councillors, which is a very helpful clarification, it avoids any future confusion. Completely take his point. The only thing I would ask you to be mindful of is the Human Resources Subcommittee has 3 members. So if you remove the voting rights from 2 of them, you only have 1 voting member of the committee. And I cannot believe that's the intention of the author of this terms of reference.
Why would you remove voting rights?
Because they don't have them, because it says ex officio members without voting rights in the terms of reference.
But the 3 members of the HR subcommittee aren't the chair and deputy.
And if you're part of that committee,
Yeah.
then you would have a voting right anyway.
Okay.
Yes. So if you're elected onto that committee through the
that's
chair,
fine.
then as a councillor, it doesn't matter whether you're chair or deputy, you've been elected as a councillor.
Yeah.
So you're not there in an ex officio role,
Yes.
you're there as a councillor.
Correct.
So then, do we need to amend 4.1b to make sure that's clear?
4.1b.
I think so.
No,
No.
because they're members of it, but there are 3 appointed councillors. And
But if one of the 3 was the mayor or deputy mayor, you then would have less than 3 voting members of the committee.
but we wouldn't have that.
Because they wouldn't be ex officio.
They wouldn't be ex officio, they would have voting members, voting rights as a
So they're only
councillor.
ex officio if they're...
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
If you're happy with your terms of reference and how
Yeah.
that's going to work,
If you're
that's
attending
all I'm
ex
trying to clarify.
officio,
That's fine.
We just
if you're purely attending ex officio,
You're
you
not
don't
a
have
member.
voting
Yeah,
rights.
okay.
If you're attending as a member of the committee,
Yeah.
the fact that you could attend ex officio by virtue of your position doesn't matter.
Right, thank you, Councillor.
Okay, we have clarity.
Councillor Drayson, you have your hand up? Is that okay? So, are we happy to just take out in 8.1b?
We'll make one amendment
We'll
to
take
8.1.
those. We'll make that amendment.
Could
Councillor
I just say, Chair, to explain the ex officio role, our current chair had an ex officio role last year on HR subcommittee, but was an elected member of that through the finance, so had a vote.
Yeah.
So what you're saying would never happen because they'd be appointed to it and therefore would have a vote rather than ex officio.
Okay. As long as we all remember that, that's fine. I just want to make sure, given the past confusion, that all confusion is resolved. It seems we've achieved this. Chair.
Okay, no problem. Thank you very much. And so, do we
So you just need to.
propose?
We also proposed an amendment. Councillor Drayson is seconding it, Chair.
Thank you.
Just need to
Can I
vote
have
it.
a vote, please, for that? Have that changed. Thank you.
Favour.
Looks like it's unanimous. Thank you.
All good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
everyone. That clarifies
Right,
that.
and now I think I can move on to account 10, which are report from councillors. So, do we have any reports to receive from Division County Councillors? Yes, would you like to have 3?
Yeah, got a couple of things really.
If you'd like to just go to the microphone
Thank
there,
you very
have
much.
3 minutes.
Got some things to tell you this time. Right, so one of the things I've been very much aware of is
Sorry,
it's Councillor Pete Morley.
Thank you.
One of the things that I've been very much aware of is through social media is obviously what happened at Barnhorn Road at the weekend and how it wasn't particularly well signposted and all the rest of it. So what I'm going to try and do each month is to give you an update on upcoming roadworks that are going to involve sort of traffic lights, that kind of thing. And I'm going to make a concerted effort to make sure that these things are posted on social media channels as well. I've gone through a list of all of the pothole repairs that have been outstanding. I've got a list of all the works that's coming up for that. In my division, I've managed to get some signs cleaned on Withyham Road near Bexhill-on-Sea Road. I've had several people contact me about verges and that kind of thing, so we managed to get those dealt with and sorted out. And also one of the residents has asked, along with someone else, for speed monitoring equipment on Bexhill-on-Sea Road, the area where it narrows down so there's no walkway towards the end, the station end. So we're looking into that and trying to get that sorted. So managing to deal with bits and pieces like that. On top of that, we've had complaints from people on Rosewood, which I can't deal with because it's not a council matter. This is to do with antisocial behaviour and stuff. I've pointed it in the right direction. I've alerted the police that there's an issue there, and they're looking at that for the residents. And aside from that, in county council role, what I'm pleased to say and pleased to bring in here is I'm looking at the commerce side of the area, and certainly economy, and my portfolio is economy. And one of the things that I'm actually looking to do is to get some work hubs into Bexhill, into Sidley and the surrounding areas to try and sort of help with getting people into employment and that kind of thing. So there's quite a bit going on. There's a lot of learning going on, and there's an awful lot of planning going on to actually do some regeneration work for the area and get some jobs into the area and some money moving back into the area. So that's all I've really got to say this time. Hopefully gives you a little bit.
Councillor Flynn, you have a question?
Yeah, if I could just ask you a question. While you're on a roll with the highways,
Yep.
That's a very successful roll by the sounds of it, it's occurred to me that a number of our zebra crossings within the town are woefully lacking visibility.
Yep.
They've worn away probably several years ago, and they haven't been upgraded. Have you got an idea of when?
There's nothing in this document for that, but what I would ask is perhaps if you could make me aware of the particular crossings, then I'll certainly bring it to the attention of the stewards.
I don't think there's a particular one. I think if you look at every single
right, okay. Noted. What I will do then is I will actually bring it to the attention of the stewards relating to that, and then
Sea Road is starting work. I don't know if you've seen that. It's starting to be, that's happening now.
The other thing that I brought to the attention is near the crossing at Norman's Bay. There's a very bad section of road there which I've asked to be dealt with, and also Hebrand Walk. There's particularly bad potholes along there that I've noticed, and we're trying to get that sorted as well.
Councillor Crotty.
Thank you, sir. Hi, Pete. With the zebra crossings that Paul was talking about, there's also, it's not just the crossing itself, it's also the poles are not being painted properly, so people are just driving, especially Devonshire Road, they're just driving through it.
Yeah.
And also, is there any pothole work being done at Buckhurst Road?
Buckhurst Road.
If you can't answer everything,
right, I have a full list. Full list here. Right. So we've got Terminus Road, Coodon Drive, Edgerton Road, Service Road, but it's been cut off unfortunately. Sackville Road, Penland Road, Southcliffe, Church Street, Watermill Lane, Pembury Grove, Coodon-on-Sea Road, Wentworth Close, London Road, Colbrook Road, Ninfield Road. Buckhurst Road is on here, yes. Western Road, Pebsham Road, and Salisbury Road. And this is dated up to, I think it's middle of next month.
There is work on Buckhurst Road in August.
Sorry, could I just ask where we could find that? And then that might
you won't. This is something that comes through to me, and this is what I aim to bring each month. So I can update you guys as to what's happening.
If you could, that'd be great.
There's also another thing about, especially for yourselves as well, where in Western Road there's two WO lines. One is for an entrance between.
I think, Councillor, if we could maybe email.
Yeah. If you can, because otherwise it's going to be a long one, isn't it? Yeah. But if you mail me stuff, we are doing our damnedest to get the works carried out as quickly as we can.
Yeah, because I reported WO lines and they went there and they said, oh, the end bits are okay, but not the middle bit.
Councillor Crotty, we'll leave it just because we need to. Councillor L.
I understand about the email, and I did want to bring it up here in the meeting though, if possible, as we're talking about Buckhurst Road. That is quite a dangerous pothole there, I'm sure you're aware. And there's also a primary school on that road.
Yeah.
And we have spoken about it, and we're trying to get through to highways to get this sorted. It's happened a few times now. We've tried to get a zebra crossing in front of that school quite a long time. They haven't got a patrol officer there at the moment because he's been off sick for quite a while. And while he's been off sick, there's been a child that's been knocked over by a car there as well. It's a very, very dangerous road.
Yeah.
Especially if people are trying to swerve past the pothole.
Yeah.
That particular pothole. And they're really trying to reach out and try and get as much help as they possibly can from St Peter's and Paul School there.
Yeah.
And see what they can do to work out whether they can find another patrol officer, but most importantly whether there can be a zebra crossing put there. And I know we've tried to get through to highways, but we just don't know how long of a process.
I'm not sure on the length of the process. I can say our highways guy is Pete Griffiths, or Peter Griffiths. If you call him Pete, he might get cross. But he's going through the same process we are. He's sort of picking up and learning through the portfolio and trying to get some stuff really done. You know, all of us are really working hard to get things moving. I'm very much aware that there's a very limited budget for what we've got to do, and it doesn't cover the cost. I think the full works for county is 350 million quid, and the actual budget is nowhere near that. So we're prioritising, but we're looking at things slightly differently.
We appreciate that. We appreciate the work, but I do, as we're here, just to try and lobby it and make it more.
Absolutely.
It's where children are involved. It can be quite. You know, we don't want any more accidents there.
And that's the point. If it's brought to our attention that it's a risk to children and stuff as well, I'm sure it would lift up the queue. So the more I'm aware of stuff, and the more Victoria and Martin and Donald are aware of stuff, we can certainly then do our best, and that's our plan, is to do the best we can for Bexhill.
Thank you. Right, questions? Try not to do on separate roads, please, if there are questions, as we do need to move on. So I'll go to Councillor Drayton and I'll come round.
Two things. Thank you for the offer to put it on social media, but perhaps you could speak to highways to put some out. There is the one network we can all check, but the big ones like the A259, the highways department should be making sure that we know something's going to happen, not down to you.
Certainly.
That should be operational. And as far as Buckhurst Road is concerned, I've worked with somebody who 50 years ago, their kids used to say, "Can we go up the bumpy road, please?" You're not going to solve it in August.
No. One of the things I was going to endeavour to do was to try and get something like this through to council, so that you guys are aware of what's going to be happening. Obviously, I've been asking for this, and I got it about 3 o'clock this afternoon. So there we go.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson.
I'm going to be a little greedy. Two things. You mentioned speed monitoring of vehicles.
Yeah.
We bought a camera thing for the local, so Town Council paid for one of those, about £1,800. I think we bought it 18 months ago. Yeah. So it clearly shows that the Town Council are very interested in the safety on our road. So I don't know whether you made contact with them to use it or something.
No, this is the strips on the road, so that we can do a survey, speed survey of the road, because it's a particularly notorious area for that.
That's a good point to put across. So if you do get anyone come forward for that, we do have
we do have the system available that we can move people there to help with it.
Yeah, certainly, brilliant.
The other thing I would like to say, it's really impressive that all of us ward councillors know of where our potholes are, but could I ask you to think about, and you, not just the sticking plaster, but the bigger picture of resurfacing the whole of Bexhill? The reason I say that is because I've been through Hailsham, and I've been into Eastbourne in the last week, and they've had significant areas in the centre of their towns completely resurfaced, and it's a brilliant job that's been done, and it so uplifts the area. When is Bexhill going to get done, and how do we lobby, what do we have to do to make that happen? Because sticking plasters are 6 months to a year, and where I live, they open up again in 6 months. So it's just wastage. And I know that all 4 of you that have been appointed don't like wastage. So if it went up a level, resurfacing is the way forward completely, rather than sticking plaster.
My understanding is that what we're looking at is a different approach. We're tied by contract, so rather than, because we think it's daft that you've got a situation where you've got a pothole there, and the one there, and the one there isn't dealt with. For traffic management point of view, it's ridiculous, because the physical cost of traffic management going out 3 times is ridiculous. But what we're having to do to achieve this is to basically change the working practices, and that is stuff that we're going through. I know we've got a meet at Balfour BT, I think it's next week or the week after, And it's certainly what Councillor Griffiths is going through at the moment, is looking at changing how it's done. So we are doing that, yeah.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Councillor Jacqueline, and then I'm going to move on.
Sorting out the working practices would be good. I believe that the Bexhill-on-Sea road, where there isn't any pavement, there's probably a better route to the east that people can take along a pavement, and so therefore a sign saying go this way might be the answer. I think in Norman's Bay it may well be that the road either side, the responsibility of maintenance is the farmers who own the fields, who are notoriously reluctant to fulfil their obligations.
Certainly my thought was to at least flag it and see what my highway steward comes up with, because if I can get something done in the first instance, then that's that. But I'm also aware that some of the road there isn't actually council owned, it's private residents owned, but certainly the area that is, if I can get something done to make it a little better, then the intention is to do that. And again, it's not going the sticking plaster route, it's trying to we're trying to do measured sections of road, which might mean that some of the individual potholes may take longer because it's a different approach, but I think people would much prefer to see a section of road done than a little bit here and a little bit there, and there's one over there that they haven't done at all. So there we go. Hopefully, is that okay? Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Right, brilliant.
Thank you very much.
I'm not doing potholes though.
Like to just introduce yourself.
Councillor Victoria Carson, and I'm Bexhill South. So, I just wanted to say, Councillor Plim, I don't know if you've seen it. I've sent. Yep. So I'm going to meet Councillor Plim about potential road closures or road issues around Bexhill Carnival. So I'm going to meet with him about that. I have a query in with the council officers for Councillor Wilson about the dreaded parking around the Richmond area. I'm very aware about Buckhurst Road, but I think we all are. I've spoke to Councillor Byrne about. I've also been meeting with the St Leonard's. I don't know what the group is actually called, I can't remember, but they want to beautify St Leonard's and put in the planters, and so I've made contact with them. Oh, beautify St Leonard's makes perfect sense, doesn't it? So I'm in contact with them as well, and we see how we can help them there. I don't know if I have anything else to report directly at the moment, other than I am Vice Chair of East Sussex County Council, so I did actually go to an event with Councillor Peters last night for SERFCA, which is the Armed Forces and Reserves and Cadets. So he was there as Vice Chair too, so 2 Vice Chairs. And that is probably it. If there is anything anybody needs help with, please do email and we will do our best.
Thank you.
And if we can't help, we will let you know why we can't do anything. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. So, do I have any reports from ward councillors? Ward councillors? Are you your town council?
Oh, not ward council. Sorry, town. Yes, sorry. I think it was
no. Okay. So now I'll move on to town council.
Thank you, Chair. 2 things really. I've had residents ask me about the never-ending roadwork on Bexhill Road, the closure. But there's still no end date still going on, so that's an issue. And the other good thing is that the works are coming into Bexhill, so that'll be a good thing, hopefully the end of this month.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Could I ask where?
Probably not. I'm guessing where, but
there's no date yet. There's no actual plans yet.
I would say
so. It might not happen.
Hasn't been.
No, it's happening. It's happening. So
okay. I mean, we haven't been made aware, and I don't think that's public. So yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I don't know where he is.
So I'll move on to 11, and I was going to do it block, but I can't. So I've got to do. I'll start with 11A. Anyone like to comment on 11A Appendix D? Any comments on that, or can I get a proposer?
I'll propose it.
Thank you. Anyone like to comment? No. I've got a proposer from Councillor Crotty, second to Councillor L, and can I have a vote on that, please? All for. Anyone against? Anyone abstaining? Thank you. So I'll move to 11B. Anyone like to comment on 11B? If I haven't got any comments, can I have a proposer? Councillor L. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Byrne. Can I have a vote on that, please? No. Thank you.
Okay. Michelle, do you want us to sign that as we go, or do you want to do it what we go?
As we go.
Sign as we go.
This is just one sheet for me and then.
Thank you. There we go. Perfect. Thanks, Carol.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll move to 11C to approve the internal audit report 2025 to 2026. Do I have any comments on that? No, can I have, yes, Councillor Wilson?
I think it is worth commenting on this because it is the internal audit and it does show us in a pretty good stead.
Yes.
And I think bearing in mind how our RFO was covering an alternative role through most of this time, I think it should be recognised that I wouldn't say that we've escaped a poor report, but the 4 things that there are really quite minor considering where the council has come from and is now.
Yeah.
So, believe it or not, I don't have any observation bar to say I think it's a very good internal report that's been produced.
Thank you. And thank you, Michelle. Okay, so I don't think anyone else wants to comment, so can I get a proposer for that? Councillor L, seconder Councillor Crotty. Can I have a vote on that, please? Unanimous, thank you.
Thank you.
Do I need to sign?
Sign that. More signs coming in.
Thank you. I'll move to 11D, Appendix G. Do I have any comments on that at all? The annual governance accountability return. Councillor Wilson.
I would just say we've gone up £100,000 year on year. We've got to start spending this money. It's there to be spent. We must stop procrastinating and get on with things because residents won't thank us for sitting on nearly £1 million worth of their money that they paid to us. So somehow, during the next 10 months we can all join in and make it much better and get things across the line because we're sitting on that money which should be there to get things done, and it's gone up year on year since this council's been in place, and we know what needs to be done. Let's get on with it.
Councillor Byrne.
I agree totally with what Councillor Wilson said. Quite often we're trying to go as fast as we can, and it's rather district council and the process of devolution which doesn't always play for us. So I think it's a good idea to put on record the fact that we are going as fast as we can, and I'm sure our part will take this as an opportunity to beat them up yet once again. I'm getting a few things moved, like the play park and there's so many things. We've done our bit, and we're waiting. Often we're waiting for legal, and often legal isn't rather any way it's wielded. It's a bit of a mess.
I believe
I understand that, but the more pressure we can put on, the better.
Thank you. Yes, you're right, and I believe there will be a comment later about the car park we're waiting on again in Galley Hill. So it's all of these. It'd be nice, as you said, to actually be able to say we've done this, and that's what we want, and that's what we need to do. And you are right with the money. We do need to spend it, but we are. I believe, as a council, we are going as quick as we can. We have got projects. We just need to have the reason to do those projects. And so, Councillor Wilson.
Just to finally, and then I will stop, to say that a very eminent councillor said to me, no town council will be measured on what they don't spend, it's on what they do. And that's what the measurement of us and all of us will be at the next election, is what we've managed to do, and this is our final 10 months to make things happen.
Thank you. And I'm hopeful that we will get a lot done in the next few months. So I'm not going to say much, but I believe that this time we can actually say we are. But let's see. No promises until...
Well, with the weight of the mayor behind this, I'm sure.
let's do it. Right. Councillor Thomas?
Yes, I echo what Councillor Wilson has said. Quite often residents do ask, well, what have you done over the last 3 years? A difficult question.
We've done a lot, and we're a new count. We're new. We can't keep saying we're new, but we are new, and I think now is the time that we will shine. That's what I believe. So, and that's from previous mayors that helped to bring that to where we are now, and councillors. Sorry, I say mayors, councillors, and mayors. But what I'm saying is, we've got to a stage, and I believe that we're there now, and we're gonna get it done. So. I'm going to move on anyway from that. So, D, can I have a proposer, please? Councillor Lim. Seconder, please. Councillor Thomas, and a vote, please, for that. Anyone against? Anyone abstaining? No? Thank you.
Signing time. Well, I've got to sign that one. Yeah, no worries, Michelle. Right. Thanks, Michelle.
So 11E. Would anyone like to comment on 11E? No? Can I have a proposer?
Yeah.
Councillor Wilson, Councillor Drayson, Councillor Wilson seconding, and a vote, please. Anyone no? Yeah.
Thank you. We're signing again.
That's fine. Okay, so I can move on to 12. To consider a 36-month contract for electric and gas for the hub.
Leave the room, Chair.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor.
Please ask me to come back.
No. We might.
So to note that quote circulated prior to the meeting. So would anyone like to discuss, or shall we? Councillor Blue?
Surely this is an operational decision, and I'll leave it up to the clerk to decide.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's going to save us money.
Okay. So you'd like to propose for the clerk to decide?
I propose the clerk.
Thank you. We'll have a second to Councillor Crotty. Can I have a vote for that then, please? Thank you.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much. That was nice and easy.
You didn't have to go far. All along. Yeah, we've got to agree it.
So 13.
Hold on, wait
sorry.
for Councillor.
Sorry.
Wait for it.
It didn't take long, that one.
So I'm going to move on to 13, which is to review the policy for seal grants. Would anyone like to comment? Comments? Councillor Drayson.
Yeah, to me this is in two parts. We've got a policy, but we've also got
Split.
What do you call it? There's two parts.
Yeah,
and I personally have problems trying to envisage any group other than a public body who's going to be in a position to affect any of the infrastructure that we need. I'm not going to say no, we don't need this policy, but I really struggle to find what group is suddenly going to be able to influence anything about flood defences, schools, medical facilities that isn't a public body.
Councillor Wilson.
There are groups, but they're quite tenuous, Councillor Drayson. Like it says, sporting and recreation facilities. How to define recreation is an interesting one, because one person's recreation facility would be different to somebody else. I'm not opposed to it, but I do accept it is difficult to split it out as to what is infrastructure. And that's always been a problem with SIL since the day SIL was introduced. And we may be opening ourselves to some worms via cans, because how do you agree a percentage of what we keep and what we give out to other organisations that might be affecting? And it's worth mentioning that the Finance and Audit Committee did an initial draft, had a go at reviewing it because it wasn't fit for purpose, and really the members of the Finance Committee decided that it ought to come to full council to decide because it is too important a document to not get it right. I think that's fair from the people that were on finance when that came up.
And I think the document's there. I understand what you're saying with it, but I think if the document's there, it's a safe policy. I think we just, well, again, that's up to you to discuss, but I believe the policy's there, we need the policy there. Councillor Plym?
I think there's various organisations that benefit from this, and a lot of those organisations sit on Rother district land, soon to be possibly our land. They've been renting buildings or a building loaned out to them for a while, but that building needs updating. So this will be an ideal policy for those groups to come to us to say, look, can you redevelop our infrastructure? This is ideal for it. It's exactly what it's made for, I think.
Thank you. And I think also it goes back to what Councillor Wilson said about we've got money and we're not spending it again. We're really worried about spending money, but actually our community needs the money. And if you want, as we know in life, if we want something, realistically, we need to spend money to keep it going. And this policy is for that. And I think we just need to not be worried about spending money. And yes, we have to look at what we're spending it on. Don't get me wrong, I'm not now saying go and waste money on whatever, but we do need to be spending money and our seal money and what we have. So I'm going to go round the room, and then I just want to get her, because I think I know what's going to happen. So Councillor L.
I just want to go back to what Councillor Burns said, and he's absolutely right. We do want to spend that money. But you've got rubber in front of you at every opportunity. We looked at seal money for a multi-use ground before. We can't determine where to put it because we don't have anywhere to put it, and we're waiting to find out. So it's always been a waiting game. Yes, it's important for seal money to come in, and we want to spend it, and we will spend it, but we need land to spend it on as well. If we're gonna introduce money into the infrastructure, we need to own some of that infrastructure, or at least have ease of obtaining it when we want to. Not like the park where we've waited 3.5 years. Where go on and you can put your spade in the ground now.
We are in the process of doing it. So yes, I understand that, but we are in the process.
We've spoken about spending seal money on a multi-use ground, but we can't carry on that conversation now. We've stopped because we're waiting.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Councillor Drayson?
I just want to say on the colourful one as opposed to the report one, there's a very important principle there that's always bugged me about SIL and doesn't necessarily apply as far rather than the government concerned, but you've actually put in here priorities to SIL funding will be given to the infrastructure that is needed as a result of the development that has generated the SIL payment. And I think that's fundamental, because actually SIL paid for a house in Bexhill to Rother could be spent in Robertsbridge doing something on infrastructure. And it seems to me that the whole point of getting the money from the developers is to improve what they're building there, not something over there. So I think that's a very important principle. Hopefully it can stay there and it won't be assailed by anyone.
Thank you. So I'll go, Councillor Wilson.
I think this should be brought in and stood the test of time. It's evolved significantly since the first and the second attempt at it. The only thing I think we need to vote on tonight is the percentage that we retain as a town council, if I'm reading that right.
Would you like to propose that?
I would like to propose that we retain 20%.
Okay, I'll just go around the room and then I'll...
If anyone wants to second, that's up to them.
Would anyone like to second? Seconded by Councillor Flynn. Would we like to discuss that? Obviously, now have to discuss. Anyone like to comment on that with the 20%? Councillor Drayson.
I'd like to ask Councillor Wilson, it's not being devil's advocate, where the 20% come from, because...
In my mind, it's the community, and the community will know where it should be spent, so the majority of it should be spent, hence 4/5 of it or 80% should be spent in the community, and we should just retain a little bit of it to when items are devolved to us, if we need a little bit to improve those, we would have a little bit extra that we could retain, but the majority should be spent in the community, otherwise it wouldn't be called the community groups policy.
Could I ask a question, Councillor Kim? Would you be happy to ask maybe our RFO for a recommendation of a percentage, if you would be happy to? Don't have to today, but...
All the pressure. Yeah, through you, Chair, about to say, can I speak? Obviously, the policy that was a recommendation that the policy was reviewed, and obviously I have tried to obviously enhance it somewhat with the assessment forms and everything else.
Yeah.
And obviously, what Councillor Wilson is proposing, okay, that's fine. So you're saying that you want to allocate 80% of this current seal amount to community groups. I would like, I believe so.
Yes, we retain
is that
20%.
correct? So we only keep 20%
Yes.
for our own projects.
Yes.
What I would just consider is that we're about to potentially acquire some assets from Robert that we already know, like the outdoor gym, is dilapidated.
Yeah.
And seal is something that we could use to enhance that and the play areas when they eventually come on board. And otherwise, the only other way is to increase the precept, which obviously caused a lot of angst last year. So that's the alternatives we've got going forward. Whereas if we had maybe, 50-50 split, with 50% of it retained for us in potential. And that's 50% of whatever a seal we have available. Bear in mind that we will potentially get another seal payment in October, November time. And again, when we receive that going forward, that percentage would automatically top up the community part and the balance would sit with us.
And I also think, we could later on, because this is now while we're taking on these assets that we may need that money, it could change to 20% later, but at the moment.
Under the right reply, Chair, I get that, but I'm also aware of two significant projects that would fit into this, which is why I'm suggesting a lower amount now to try and help two community groups to get on with the projects that they are great for the town, very supportive of them, and if we put it at 50%, we probably wouldn't be able to help both of those organisations. So
be declaring an interest.
No, because I'm not a member of either of them, and we should all know who they are. So I don't need to declare an interest. I'm just saying that I'm aware that there are two that will be coming forward using this policy, and we should be fluid enough that potentially, I think the seal money, RFO will correct me, goes back over the last 2.5 years that we haven't spent any of it. So maybe we could clear some of it and then review the 20% when we've reduced it down, allowing for some more coming in. It should be a fluid figure.
Councillor Drayson?
Yeah, I found my own notes where I put no more than 25% in the own thing. But it's because there's only 300,000 seal that isn't in the earmarked reserves already, that we haven't already done. And coming up with the thoughts before that we've got to spend it, if we make it, I don't want to put you on the spot, if we made it so that groups had most of it, we could still be sitting here next year having not spent it. Yeah. But obviously Councillor Wilson's got the advantage of us that he knows that there's likely to be a couple coming.
Well, we know of one of them because they've come to the town council before.
Yeah, we know. We've had one.
Come to council.
And I thought everyone else knew the other ones.
Yeah.
The other ones.
Councillor
So I've no idea who either of these two groups are, but that wasn't the reason I put my hand up. I quite like the RFO's proposal of 50-50 because I do think that some of us felt increasing the precept wasn't a great thing. If we did 50-50 and actually we had a decent proposal from a community group, could we still give them some of that our 50 anyway?
I mean,
maybe.
Potentially, yeah. Councillor Byrne, and I want to get this to a vote if that's okay.
Yeah, I particularly like that because we're talking about definite percentages, but we know we're in a fluid situation as to which projects are coming down the track, when we are or are not getting SIL, and just how much work is going to be done on the devolved assets. So is this the time to have a prescriptive document like this that puts a big hard black line saying 50% here, 50%, or 20 or 80. Can't we build in, as Councillor Jacqueline said, an escape clause, really, to say that on a project-by-project basis, if it's put forward by community and it would appear to be over their threshold, we can look at it. And the same, if we have something we need to do as a council, and the timing is such that we don't have the funds available without going over our percentage, we can do that as well. I know it's Adam's not going to thank me for wanting him to write a document like that, but if we can come up with a document with that flexibility in it, with an intent up front to say, yes, we want it to be community driven where possible, but at the moment, can we do this?
So I'm just going to say one thing, I'm going to pass over to Adam if this isn't, but how about if we don't put the percentage in, and we just have this policy for now, and then see what the groups come forward with, and then add a percentage later? May keep it simple. I'll pass over to our town clerk.
Yeah, so the relevant part of the policy, well, first of all, I want to thank Michelle again for brilliant work on this. And this policy's come on a million miles where it was. So, and I say you've had the right discussion. The reason for this policy coming out is because we have applications for SIL funding that are coming to July Council for you to consider. So you have to have a policy to rely on before you can make that decision. And that's where this is before you tonight. Okay. I think it's section, again, Michelle, if you don't mind me speaking, but section 6 of the policy says the council will allocate X percentage of the total community infrastructure levy for the SIL Community Fund. So there are two things you might choose to do to that, listening to what the councils have said. You could say, add a sentence there, this is subject to constant review or something like that. Or you could say the council so that's the first way. If you want to make it flexible, you could put a sentence in there to do that. That could be I might call that Amendment A. And then Amendment B would be to put, which is you don't want to do it yet. So you could say the council will, in the future, allocate a percentage of. Am I making sense? So you can, in other words, you can put a few extra words in section 6. So if anyone wants to propose an amendment, that would be how to do it. We just say an amended version of section 6. If they do, so either we go 6.1 and we're putting percentage in and we say what it is now, or we put a percentage in with those caveats.
Thank you.
Hope that helps.
Councillor Plym.
On that basis, I'd like to make a proposal then to amend 6.1 so it reads the council will allocate an undisclosed percentage of total community infrastructure levy balanced for the community infrastructure fund, and I don't know. That's the first part of it. But I had it in my mind a minute ago, the wording for the second part. But
are we not overcomplicating this?
Yep.
It's a community infrastructure fund that we want to hold on to a percentage of.
Yes.
We have a process that organisations come to our council to request support from this fund. But we're going to go, we might put percentage in, we're not going to tell you what it is. We might review it again, it might be before or after you apply for something, and you might get it, you might not. Shouldn't we be really transparent and say this is how much we've got, and it will be either all of it? And this goes back to the first application we had where people were nervous, really nervous. I sensed that because I was chairing the meeting, about allocating a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's for the community. It's come to us, it hasn't cost us anything. It would have sorted out a massive problem that organisation had. And people were going, it's far too much money, we better hold on to some of that. And so let's put a small percentage in there, as a pacifier if you like, but advertise it, because otherwise we'll get accused of not being transparent with stuff. And I think it should be that I would accept 50%, but I think it should be a much lower amount so we put more into the community. And I have
as we said, it's just our RFO has recommended, just because of obviously with things coming forward that our preset will go up, but again that would be up to councillors to decide. Councillor Drayson, and then
it's not in this policy, but in the other bit of the SIL we've got, or does it have to be in this policy? And I think it's what I thought it was what Councillor Jacqueline was heading to, is that surely with our bit, we could match fund the community group if we thought it was such a good idea. So we could go down the 50-50, but we're free to say that's such a good thing, we're going to give you some of our 50%.
Makes sense.
Councillor Jacqueline?
So I have a proposed wording which gives us the flexibility to do what we want. A proportion will be allocated to community projects to be monitored throughout the year. So, in other words, if we think we've got 100,000 and next month we get asked for 30 and we grant 30, we're 30% of the way through the money and we just keep a running tally.
I kind of agree with Councillor Wilson in a way, because what happens is if we say that we don't know the percentage, what happens is then the councillors start saying, oh, are we going to give, and it happens in finance, and that's where our finance policy was wrong. So I do agree with Councillor Wilson. I think the most simple thing, as Councillor Wilson said, is we just need a percentage. So if someone can come up with a percentage and we put that in, and then we can do exactly what Councillor Drayson said, is if we want to then match it, then we match it. So I'll just leave it to Councillor Drayson.
Just going to answer to Councillor Jackie Butt, because that to me sounded like all the mistakes we've made with the grants. It doesn't matter if we gave 100% of whatever the percentage is in that fund to the first applicant. If it's that good and we want it, we're not going to, oh, there's two of them, we're going to have to split it half. Yeah. No, the first one is so good we could give it 100% of the money. We could eke into our bit if we thought the second one was good and we could afford it. So to allow us that, I will say 50%, please, so that it's an equal split, and then you can move it around as we need to, because we shouldn't be making rules that stop us doing what we want to do.
Councillor Wilson, would you like to amend your...
What I would add, Chair, is that we are sitting on about £300,000 in our general reserves as well. So if we left it at 20% and that wasn't enough, would we dip in, or do we put it at 50% and dip in? It really doesn't matter. It's about the quality of the applicant that is asking the money. So I don't really want to reduce it.
To simplify it, I would like to have Michelle, did you want to comment?
Can I just comment? The general reserve has to stay at a set level of the budget. Yeah. So it has to be retained so that we could run the council should there be a financial issue for 3 to 6 months. Which at the moment, the general reserve is
close.
On the borderline, very close.
Okay. So can I simplify this? Can we have a 50? Would anyone like to put the motion forward for a 50-50 and be able to then match fund if we can? Councillor Drayson?
I would like to do that, but have we not already got Councillor Wilson's 20% on that we need to vote on first?
Okay. So can we vote on...
You went no more than 25.
Would anyone like to make an amendment to Councillor Wilson's, or shall we... Let's have a vote on...
I would like to leave mine at 20%, if that's all right.
So do I have a second of Councillor Wilson?
If it helps matters, I can withdraw my second.
Okay. So
someone else might want to second.
Do I have another second for Councillor Wilson? No, Can I have a vote on Councillor Wilson's 80-20, please?
Okay. 2 in favour.
So against? Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Councillor Drayson.
Can I propose, Chair, we make it 50-50?
Okay, would you like to add anything into the 50-50?
Sorry.
Do we have?
No.
Okay, so we can.
We're taking Councillor Wilson's advice, if not his motion, and we're keeping it simple.
Thank you. Do I have a second for Councillor Drayson's? Councillor Crotty, can I have a vote on 50-50? Thank you very much. Anyone against? Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. Then goes from there. I'm hoping this one will be a bit quicker. 14. So, Councillor Tempe.
Sorry, Chair. Apologies for being late. It was unavoidable and declaring all the district councillor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, moving on to 14 is to review the fire safety policy. Would anyone like to comment? Councillor Crotty.
Just want to say thank you to the staff and the team for getting it all done.
Thank you. I believe that's... Thank you. Okay, thank you. Councillor Wilson.
Yeah, just being very picky, page 3 policy statement, third sentence, this policy has been signed by a director to demonstrate our commitment. I don't think we have a director. Just to play on words, I think it's important to get it right, and I'm delighted that we haven't had any risks with the fire safety up until now. It should have been in place on the opening of the business.
If he's proposing an amendment, we can take the amendment.
I propose that be amended to either a chair or town clerk, either or.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Crotty, can I have a show of hands for the amendment?
Amendment's passed, Chair. Thank you.
Perfect. So just that. Yeah. Other than that, can I propose the policy then, please? Councillor Crotty, Councillor Bloom seconding, and can I have a show of hands for that, please? Thank you. Unanimous. Thank you very much. So town clerk update. A is just noted, and B, I believe you wanted to.
Yeah. So just to say.
Sorry.
Hold on.
Ask questions.
Yes.
Yeah, no, we're coming to that, Chair. So, sorry, Chair, through you. So 58 is just a note, but I do have two very quick updates within it. And so I'll give you two very quick updates. Then I'm happy to take any questions or comments on 15A, and then we'll move on to 15B. And I want to say a little bit about 15B to introduce it, Chair, just so we're clear what's going on. Okay. So 15A, the two quick updates. Toilets, lots going on. Lease, the licences for toilets are a different item on this agenda, and thank you, Michelle, for all your work on that. But also there was the lease for one of the toilets as well, and the paperwork for that will come to the July full council. So licence and lease is progressing on toilets. Secondly, you were all sent an email from me asking you to save the date 22nd of July. Thanks for all of you who've responded so far. If anyone didn't pick up the email, we're having a briefing on the Fountains project on the Bexhill Neighbourhood Board. That's a closed briefing. It's not a council meeting, it's a closed briefing on the 22nd of July. So if you could just confirm to me, if you haven't so far, if you can make that, then we'll be finalising those arrangements. That's on the 22nd of July at 6 o'clock as per my email. Otherwise, through you, Chair, any questions or comments on 15A, and then I'll say a bit about 15B.
Councillor Drayson.
Yeah, under paragraph 2.
Yes.
I'm setting this in against uproar this week where Rotherham District Council introduced parking in Beach and Close car park, much to the annoyance of locals. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but it doesn't seem to be well handled. They've remarked Richmond Road car park, which has been suspended, but as they're putting in markings and restrictions from East Sussex in Richmond Road, to remark that car park at that time set hairs running that they were going to start charging on that one. I thought we have generally said we'd like any or all of the car parks, although they might not give in to us at the moment because they're charging, they're making money. But you refer to here that they're looking into one of the Galley Hill car parks. I thought we'd asked for top and bottom. We wanted both. They're not charging for both, and I thought both could be available. So I just wonder why there's only the one. And is the one the upper one or the lower one?
The one is the lower one, so happy to clarify. Not necessarily for now, because this is a matter that you may wish to take up rather as we proceed, but the situation as per the green list is that up at this stage, Rotherham District Council have sent us a list of 36 potential assets for us to take on, which is what's called the green list. Okay? It was originally 31 and then 5 more got added, making 36. No car parks on that list, and rather we're clear about that, saying that the car parks, the public car parks that people pay to use, will transfer to unitary because they generate income. Okay? That's the Rotherham position on public car parks. So none of those car parks. So if you let me just, I'm happy to take points, but I'll just finish my point first. That's okay.
Just a point of order. That's not correct, Dan Clark. That is not correct.
Tell me what's not correct about that?
The fact that we were only taking one of the two car parks. I've been discussing this for the last 18 months with Rotherham District Council, and the agreement was in place, and I put a motion through this council back in December, January, February-ish. We were offered the opportunity to take the upper and lower car park. It was discussed at Rotherham, it came here, and it opened a debate, and the motion agreed that we would take all car parks.
Yes, absolutely. That's our position, correct.
if I can carry
I
on.
wasn't explaining our position, I was supposed to be running Rother.
The position from Rother is that they offered us both of the car parks, and we want both of the car parks because we've asked for all of them. So why would we, if we asked for all of them, only then want to take the lower one?
It's not our position, it's the Rother position. Rother are saying...
I'm sorry, it's not.
Wilson, I've had the relevant email from Rother District Council saying this is the position, that's why I put it in the report. So that's the Rother position. The Rother position is that there are two... So to explain the Rother position, I'm not saying whether I agree with it or not, I'm just explaining what the Rother position is. So the Rother position is that there are two car parks, Galley Hill, upper and lower. This is, but the reason that they would release a car park into, or car parks into the green list is because of the Bexhill Maritime project relating to Galley Hill. So the purpose of releasing the car park to us is so we could lease it to Bexhill Maritime, because they can't lease it because they're disappearing in 2 years' time. So that's what that is the Rother position. So Rother have then asked Bexhill Maritime, how many car parks do you need for your project? 1 or 2? And Bexhill Maritime said, we only need the lower car park. So therefore Rother have released the lower car park, or sorry, they haven't. They're looking into whether they're going to release the lower car park because of it being part of the Bexhill Maritime project. And our role is to be the holder of the land to lease it to Bexhill Maritime. So that is Rother's position. So they do not, at this stage, anticipate releasing any other car parks because they're not part of the Bexhill Maritime project, and therefore they would transfer to Unitary. So that is what has been written to me as the Rother position. That's what I put in the report. I understand you disagree with that, but that is the position.
Councillor Wilson, can I just say, just before you say anything, you are right, because I was there as well, with you, on the day that we spoke to Rob. I would like this recorded as well, just so it's recorded. But yes, they did say that we could have the lower and the upper car park.
Correct.
But what we have to accept is our town clerk is saying that he's had the email from Rother. So it's not the town clerk, it's Rother that have...
I just need some clarity in my own very small brain. The agreement from Rother is they will not give anything that makes money to a town council. We have to accept that. The lower one is the chargeable car park. The upper one, they don't get any income from at all. So I fail to see why...
That's a fair point. No, that's incorrect, I believe.
Is it?
That's not right. The upper one, if you remember in our meeting...
The upper one costs money?
No, the upper one makes money. The lower one doesn't make money. And that is what we had in our meeting. We weren't promised that we were going to be given it, but they did say that they were really looking into it, that they just give it to us as a whole. This is, as I said, this is a discussion that we've had, so I'm just being open with what discussion we have. We weren't promised anything, but we did have that discussion of it would be easier to just give us the whole of the Galley Hill area and not split it up. But our town clerk is telling us now that he has had information from Rother that that's not the case. So we have to accept that. Now, I understand it's not what we want to hear, but it's not the town clerk's fault. This is what Rother's come back to us with. So,
can I ask at your next leaders meeting, you put it as an agenda item to clarify what has changed in the 6 months from us having both to now only having one?
It's not even 6 months, it was probably 2 months ago, 3 months ago. But
so they're going to change decisions like that when that was one of the few decisions that I felt really confident about, and we'd nailed an answer. And now to hear, I'm very, very disappointed, and I think that should be discussed forcibly.
Again, as we have in our leaders meeting, and I've been in them for 2 years with yourself, we do say that these are the things that make the town council sort of look and say, look, come on, let's work together. And we do try and work together, and then we get that positive thing of, you know what, we'll give you the whole lot. But again, as I said, they do not promise it, but we have those discussions and we say it'd be so much easier if it just, let's do it. And then we just get the information from our town clerk to say, sorry, they've gone back on that, which is, as you said,
unbelievable.
But I'm going to, I'm going to go around the room, but and then we are going to move on now, if that's okay. So, I'll start with Councillor Flynn.
Yeah, this epitomises the whole farcical point of devolution under Rother District Council, because They are willingly given away the assets of this town to an undisclosed unitary authority. The people of this town will lose control of the civic assets of this town through this process if it continues in this way. And it doesn't seem to be any particular way that we, as elected officials, can demonstrate for this. We've been told for months and months on end, oh, keep quiet, don't tell the public, it's all going to be quiet. Well, it's about time we had it in the open. Rutherglen District Council are having Bexhill citizens over a barrel over this. Their civic community is being ripped apart and given up to a higher authority. And we should stand square and oppose this straight away. I want to know where we go as an elected body to stop this happening further. How do we go take this further? Or do we sit back and go, oh no, it's a process, we just got to get on with it?
Thank you, Councillor Bloom. That's why I wanted to make what I know public as well. So, yeah, I'm going to go around the room if that's okay. Councillor Crotty.
Thank you, Chair. Do we know if there's any caveats on the lower car park to Southern Water? Because of the lorries being
already
parked
looked into it.
it's all been done.
Yeah, it's all right.
There's a longer answer to that, but basically the short answer is yes.
Yeah, okay, right, thank you.
Councillor Hill.
I'm fully behind Councillor Plym on this because we have been told, don't worry, we're making way in the leaders' meetings, it's all going very well, they're completely on par with us, it's absolutely fine, and we've trusted that process as councillors, and that's also what we've passed on to our residents. Obviously, it sounds like the leaders' meetings, and this is what the public is going to think as well, are just words. Just easy talk, easy chat, promises made that aren't going to be delivered. So we want to see more on paper, we want to see more through emails. I personally don't think that I can believe too much of what we hear anymore and the promises that are made to us, because I don't feel comfortable with those promises. I don't feel comfortable with what Robert's saying to us. How is the public going to feel comfortable? How are we going to help the public and the residents feel comfortable over this? It is very disappointing. I understand it, but it's disappointing.
I will be relaying, and I've got a meeting on the 17th of July again, leaders meeting, and I will be putting that point across because I am disappointed, to be honest.
Maybe get their answer in an email or written.
Yeah, we'll see. But I am very disappointed, so that's all I'll say. But you are correct, yes. Councillor Peters.
Yeah. Can I just play devil's advocate here a minute, because we're about to lose Bexhill Maritime. They've got 600 locations looking at the moment, and are we sure that Rother haven't just done this because it's the lower Galley Hill car park that Bexhill Maritime need, and by putting just that on the list, it's expediting. It's not saying that they're not going to add the others later on. They're just putting it.
Yeah, we're not holding. We want that as quick as possible. You are right.
Yeah.
You are right.
So that by them just putting that on there, it's going to expedite.
All I'm saying is when we had the meeting with Rother, they just said we'll do the whole lot in one. So
Bexhill Maritime didn't have 6 locations then at that point, did they? So now, and they're saying, I had a meeting with them last week, as did the town clerk, and they are saying they've got 6 locations and they will move to those locations if we can't sort it out, because it's been stagnant since 2023.
Thank you. Councillor Tempe, did you want to say anything? Or?
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, car parks are my portfolio, rather. I mean, I've just had an email from Joe, bit different, where they're making loads of progress, blah, blah, blah. But I've been pushing, because obviously I'm Bexhill Maritime as well, to get this sorted, and I cannot understand the delay, because it was something agreed months and months ago that this would happen to facilitate, because we haven't made a decision as a council that we are going to lease it to Bexhill Maritime. That's still to come to us. The first step was to get the car park. And going back to Southern Water, we've had a lot of discussions with Southern Water, and we know exactly where their lines are and everything's sorted with them. I'm just going back to Councillor Plym's tirade about Rother. As far as devolution goes, it has created significant man hours that were never obviously budgeted for. And it's not something that we wanted to do, we are being told to do it, and we have been told to do it in a certain way. And the priorities are, the list is huge for assets going up or down. It's massive, and what we're looking at is just a small portion of it. But I agree with everyone. I mean, the delay is unacceptable, and I've had many conversations with Joe, many that have been, not quite so nice. But he's under a cosh with Wealden Legal, which are impossible to deal with. We aren't a priority. Rother is not a priority. With the legal
Surely they're dealt with
matters.
equally, aren't they? Surely they should be dealt with equally.
Should be.
Sorry,
Surely they should be dealt with equally.
Yeah, should
No,
be.
no.
Rather takes Wealden takes priority.
Well, when you look at the delays, when any projects I've been on, it takes 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 years to get leases, which is so we're having to go outside to legal help sometimes just to get a project done. So I'm as frustrated as you guys, and I'm.
Maybe Rob have to look at their legal side, and it's the same with
all other councillors, and I speak for Terry. We think that it's absolute madness, but the upper echelons think it's a wonderful thing, but we don't.
The unelected officials think it's
some of them are as frustrated as we are, but yeah, it's a nightmare.
Yeah, it's just a shame because as earlier as our East Sussex County Councillor said, is they are looking at things in another view rather than just staying the same way. And maybe Rother's got that thing of they're just doing the same thing and it isn't working. So I'm not saying we're going to fix that, but maybe they should. As I said, our East Sussex County Councillor said they're looking at another way of doing things. Maybe that's the way forward.
We've got to go within the law,
Councillor Byrne?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I mean, really defending Rother councillors again. Willingly, no, there's no willingly about it. However, at the annual audit, the auditors of Rother District Council's budget, who are appointed by Rother but appointed by Westminster to do this, their opening paragraph, which makes very good reading, and I've referred to it before in this meeting, in council, absolutely states up front, here is the line you must take when devolving assets, and it says if it makes money it goes to it goes to the centre, and if it doesn't, now we were presented with that was all. So our officers, largely to their credit, have tried to find flexibility within that framework where they could release things to us. And one of the things they really tried to do quickly is to get the Lower Galley Hill car park to enable this lovely project of Bexhill Maritime. So in a way, by divorcing it from the overall mess and pulling it out, they've created a rug for our own backs, because we're now saying to them, oh, you told us the two were indivisible before, and now they're divisible. They're divisible because we wanted them to be. We wanted to pull the bit that's holding up a project. We want to pull that out of the morass of local government devolution and whatever, and get it sorted. So it went from that morass, yes, we'll try and do it as quick as we can, into the morass that is Wealden Legal Services. So please don't think it's willingly. Bexhill councillors, all the representatives of Bexhill on Rother District Council have fought as hard as they can to get absolutely everything. I completely agree with Councillor Pledd, and I said very early on to our leader in Rother, remember, I'm going to have my Bexhill Town Council hat on, and we all did. We are going to fight for what we can get, but we're within a legal framework which doesn't seem to have the flexibility. We've managed to get a small amount of flexibility, but it's a shame if that small amount of flexibility is seen to be you could have done all the rest then. No, we couldn't. Honestly, we really had to fight for any flexibility we've got, and we have been fighting and will continue so to do.
If I can just
I want to wrap this up in a
on that particular point, there is the flexibility there because you're supposed to weigh up the financial costs with the social costs.
No, there isn't a financial.
That's what the policy says.
No,
there was a committee to look at that.
That's what Rother's policy said about devolution.
Yes.
Later on, local government reorganisation said there is no flexibility if it's revenue, it's got to go up. So we came up with our policy for devolving assets first, and then Westminster said, oh, by the way, devolving assets, here's how you're going to do it. Published after our very sensible, here's what we would like to do, which did make had a lot of points in about social value, community value, that was all in there. That got trumped.
Thank you. We're sort of going off subject. We're not, but we are sort of
we're trying to solve Westminster problem.
If we can get that and then go to 15B.
Yeah. Just get rid of the word willingly, please.
Councillor Thomas.
Yes, I think to call this shambles devolution is wrong because if something is being devolved, everything that was Bexhill should come back to Bexhill. No?
That's not what it means. The assets are going somewhere else. They are being devolved. It doesn't say what the destination
councillors,
is.
We're not here to.
No, sorry.
I want to move on.
It doesn't say what the destination
Councillor
is.
Jacqueline, sorry.
So everything that belonged to Bexhill up to 1974 should come back to Bexhill.
Be great if it could, but it's not. So let's move on. Sorry, because we're not here to discuss.
I have a question for the clerk, which may have some relevance to our county colleagues. There clearly is some dissatisfaction with Rother. At some point, based on your experience of working with other district and borough councils, will you be able to tell us whether Rother are particularly awful? When it comes to devolution and employment of people from the boroughs and districts, will the individual uselessness of officers be taken into account? That's not a question for you. That's a general point.
That's fine, thank you. Right, Councillor Wilson, then I want to move on.
Thank you. I just want to put on record, as you have, I feel terribly let down by this. I've been sitting up there for the last 2 years saying to councillors here, there is a process, there is a policy, it's coming our way, blah, blah, blah. To have something agreed and inside 3 months have it changed when I'm sure both of those have been through the disposal panel. So the question to Rother is, have those items been through the disposal panel? And in which case, if they haven't, why were they offered to us? And how do we complain against the person who made that offer? Because they made us look daft. The same as what they made the town council look daft with the precept issue this year that was set up with what we were told and advised, and 2 days before the policy and process was changed. Despite having a 2-monthly leaders meeting, which is very useful, I'm wondering really whether there is any point.
That's Councillor Elson.
And I think that should be the question as an agenda. What is the point of these carrying on? Because I've sat round the table for 3 years and I did believe what was happening, and clearly with these car parks it's just ridiculous. If we're still talking about this report, can I just make a couple of observations to change the subject, because I think we're a bit fed up with those car parks.
Yeah, if we can move on. But yes, you are right, and I will bring that to you.
Good, thank you.
Okay.
I trust you will. I've got a couple of observations, if I may. There's 3 other items on here that haven't had an update since the last full council, and I think I'd like to know a bit about them. Is the grass cutting contract that there's a motion out to bring in-house. The CCTV overview had a 3-year time ban, and I think we've only got about 15 months to do that. That's not on here. And the mugger that has been mentioned, there is a lot of work going on up at Gunter's Lane about the mugger, and I will have a conversation with Councillor Ray outside of this. But I did note that 2 of our toilets have been closed this week for maintenance on social media for safety reasons. Those that don't use social media wouldn't have been aware, and as councillors, if some of our assets are going to not be open. Could we receive an email, please, to say they're closed?
Okay, we can do that. That's a great point.
Because otherwise we wouldn't know.
Yeah.
And I hope it is just maintenance and nothing more sinister than that.
Yeah.
And my final observation is regarding Bexhill Recreation Ground. I did at last full council be rather risk adverse, I think was the phrase, to say can't we appoint the contractors now? I see it still says beginning around 10 weeks, which was the lead-in period. So we haven't still given them notice for a start date?
No, they have. That's what the lead-in period was. Happy to clarify. First of all, thank you for all those questions. Great points. Thank you for reading my report as well. The purpose of the report, as you can hear, is to tell you what flipping heck is going on. So something is missing, please say so.
Absolutely.
Very happy to hear that. Yeah. But that's the purpose of that report, and that should also help you with the question you're asking yourself earlier, what the hell have we been doing all this time? If you start to put these reports together, you'll see what your council is achieving, which will help you with your public communications. So it's nice to see this report is starting to fulfil its purpose. I take your point about the 3 additions. I'm very happy to add those, Councillor Wilson. We'll make sure there's updates on those 3 items at the next meeting. We'll make sure we tell you if we close any toilets as well. So take all of those points on board as well. Thank you.
And the start date for the...
And the start date, just to say, yeah, because it was actually a 12-week lead-in time. So that's why I've said 10 weeks, because that started 2 weeks ago.
But the last full council was
12 weeks full council.
4 weeks ago.
Yeah, well, no, but because because as I've said in my report, the contractors then had to provide all the necessary paperwork for that period to begin. So which they've now done. We've now had the proof of insurance, method statement and risk assessment. We couldn't have begun the process without those things.
Do we have an actual
place.
Start date?
So we don't have an exact start date, but as I say, we're working with a 12-week lead-in time that began 2 weeks ago. That is the current position. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Pym, is that you?
Yeah, just one question on the appendix here as well, regarding the co-option. Have you got a time scale for that at all?
Yes, so the co-option, we advertised it on Friday, and as the closing date's the 6th of July, and we expect to therefore ask the full council meeting the 29th of July to make the appointment.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right, I'm going to ask the clerk to move on,
yes.
or I'm going to move on to 15B.
Yeah, 15B. So just by way of brief introduction, because of the purpose of these meetings is to hear from you, not to hear from me, but just to say, this report, as you can see, there's no decisions in this report, but hopefully its purpose is clear. As well as taking assets on, our town will want us to manage these assets well, have the resources we need, be aware of risks and then manage them. So this report sets out how we will do all of these things, and that work starts now. That's why the report has come to you now. So you can see what's been done in terms of how we will manage the assets when we take them on. Secondly, as councillors, you are decision makers, and our job as officers is to provide you with the information you need to make these decisions. This report sets out how this will be achieved. As councillors, you're then able to make informed choices. Happy to take any questions or comments, but the report is simply noted. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. So it is noted, but I'm happy to take a few and then move on if that's okay. I'll start with Councillor Crotty.
Thank you, Chair. Just wanted to say to the town clerk and to the staff, for me personally, that's runs down from A to B. It's really great and it's informative. And like you say, we're going to have a lot of these if this green list doesn't materialise with 36. No, was it
36 at the moment, yeah.
Yeah, so it'd be quite interesting to see what happens.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Plym?
Yeah, I think it's brilliant. It really is brilliant. It's exactly what you really want to be seen to happen. You know, we're looking at everything, we're taking everything into consideration. And the example you put on there about the park there, I think is brilliant. There's a couple of points on there that I probably need to ask you afterwards about.
Feel free to take any queries.
I've highlighted them on here that I'm not too sure about. But I think it's absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councillor Drayson?
Yeah, just I was as well disappointed. If there wasn't an outdoor bowls club, I'd be in it. Let's just say, I'm not going to put the town clerk on the spot,
Go for it.
but presumably going through this, he will be happy with our legal advice and the speed he gets our legal advice, bearing in mind what's been said about Wheelbury tonight and Rother, and that we're not seen to be the ones that are holding stuff up.
The idea of, I mean, I wish that was within my gift. Unfortunately, it's not. But I take your point completely. Again, and the purpose of this, the reason for saying we want this information about the assets is to try and speed that process up, rather than either of us go, well, we can't do it until we have all these things, and then another 3 months goes by. So this is to try and get ahead of that and try and help to speed things up when the time comes.
Thank you. Councillor Wilson?
I might be looking at this in the wrong way. I'm happy to be criticised if I am looking at it in the wrong way, but I see this as a document exactly what Rother are doing to us at the moment, which is barriers behind something being passed over to us. There are restrictions in here, and it suggests that if there is something not available, we may not take the asset. And I would not want to be in the position of, say, not having one small item that we think we should have, not being available, and then us not taking it. But what really does, there's two things that concern me deeply, is under item 8, conclusion, this report shows councillors the work being undertaken to prepare for decisions on whether to take the assets. We've done that. We passed the motion to take the 36 items. Full stop. Why are we going to go back over it and discuss it again, Chair?
I don't think this is for us too, though. I believe this is for our town clerk will be
Then we
doing.
don't need to see it. So if it's an operational document, we don't need to see it. We're strategists. And that suggests that we've then got to re-vote, because that's what it says, decisions on whether to take on assets, which we've already decided on. We are getting ourselves in another hole to stop us. And stop us getting hold of these assets.
I'm happy to answer that question, Chair, if that's okay. So, completely take your points. First of all, so the two things are, in the bit sentence you quoted, first of all, it says may, not will. So it says may, not will. So that's up to you guys. You are the decision makers here. So what this report is saying is, yes, you have said to Rother, we want to take these assets on. Please now give us what we need to be able to take them on. This report is saying that, okay, that's perfect. So for each of the assets, you'll need to know what risks has it got with it? What holes are there in roofs? What gaps are there, etc. What are you taking on so that you know, for example, how much money you're going to need to do it? Because it's not going to help anybody to take a load of assets on that will have capital costs for them of X £1,000, and we haven't got the resources to do that. That's what I meant about the town wanting us to manage them while we take them on. So that's what the purpose of this is that when we get to this is so that when you get to final sign-off point, if there are any issues that you have concerns about these assets, that they are resolved before you take legal ownership of them. So I should have made that sentence longer in section 8, perhaps. I'm sorry if I misled you at all, but that is what that sentence means, is that we've said we want these things, that's fantastic. There's now a legal process where we sign on the dotted line to take them. And this report is saying, okay, when you reach that point, you'll have this information so you know you can sign on the dotted line. But also as decision makers, you can raise any concerns that you have before you sign on the dotted line. So it's not going against anything that's happened so far. It's just how you get over the line. It's to try and help you take it forward, not hold it up. That's what it's for.
With all due respect, I'm only reading what's in this document, and it says conclusion, decisions on whether to take on assets.
Yes, and that means okay, that's it. It should be a slightly longer sentence. I take your point, but I take your point. You've decided that. But if you discover there are very significant risks with a particular asset, what is it you want to do?
Yeah, exactly. We won't have that time, though, Chair.
But we will have to discuss that.
We'll be in the same position as what we were with the toilets, and the toilets will end up being closed, or another asset will be shut, and everyone will go, well, why didn't you take it? And then 2 years later, we'll take it and then fix it.
Councillor Plitt,
our electorate will want us to be fully informed of what is coming down to us. Our staff and our clerk have put together a tool which they can use in order to highlight things that we should be aware of as risks. And if we weren't given those risks and they just signed them off, we would be accountable. And we will be trying to explain to the electorate, oh, well, we just said to the clerk, get on with it. We can't do that. We have to say to the staff, check everything out. Come back to us and say, actually, you said you wanted these, but what we found is that there's a covenant on this that says you can't do anything with it at all other than leave it as a swamp.
Then this should go to the leaders' meeting again, because there isn't time to do all of this. if the unitary is here this time next year, Rother won't be here, and we won't be able to say, no, we're not taking that, because no one will own it.
But we've already been told that if we don't have time, it will then be passed down from the unitary. We've already been told.
So then you'll lose it altogether if you don't take it as it is. Just saying.
I'm afraid I agree with Councillor Plym that we definitely need to have this.
We can do.
Yeah.
All right.
Right, I think we can. I'm going to put Councillor Drayson, I'll go around. No, Councillor Tempe, sorry, you've had your hand up for a while.
Yeah, I think way back, I'm not sure that it was clear to everybody, but any asset coming to us will be in not great condition.
And we know that.
Yeah.
Experience of that.
But there will be significant costs which go back to the sill thing. I can already tell you the risks are enormous. And there was this thought that, we'll take everything. Well, this is a very sensible route into which to sort of like take out the ones that it makes absolutely no sense to have, because from a cost standpoint. So I welcome it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Jacqueline, I'll move round. And then
I think my understanding too was that we agreed a long list of things that we expressed an interest in, subject to information to confirm whether we actually want them. I also think my understanding of the government, I'm not sure what the word is for a plan that isn't a plan, for devolution, is that in 10 months' time there would be a further overlap year during which there'll be a bit of this. Yeah.
But maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Councillor Baird, I do want to move round and get Councillor Baird.
Just a very quickie. Whenever we're talking about devolution, we must remember that we're not losing these assets. If the assets get passed up to the unitary, that doesn't mean they're not going to be available to us. Doesn't mean they're not going to be maintained.
Which is exactly what
by someone outside of our budget. So we do tend to go down this rabbit hole of we're losing this as if someone's going to take a big lump of Bexhill and put it into East Sussex somewhere. That's not the case, and it's not. We are almost prejudging the new unitary that they will do things absolutely. They will be doing things to Bexhill that we'd rather they didn't.
We can only go on the experience we've had.
Well, I do agree with you, Councillor Plym, that yes, the future doesn't look that rosy, but it's not. It's not. As I say, the assets will not have vanished, and if it means someone else putting them back in order and the cost coming out of their budget, that may not always be a bad thing. So this strategy for taking them on and looking at what condition those are in, I think will be followed up by what happens if we don't take them on, and will they still be in that condition? Because if someone else says, well, they've got to be put right by somebody, and that somebody is the new unitary, then good stuff. We'll have the money, thank you.
Yeah, so I agree, as Councillor Plym is saying, that from previous experience.
Okay. Yeah.
So anyway, I'm going to move on to Councillor Drayson. Councillor Drayson?
Yeah. It's halfway between. Councillor Wilson's quite right. We shouldn't say no to something because one little thing hasn't been done. But equally, Councillor Plym's right, that once we know all the risks, if we know that one thing hasn't been done, we can decide to take that risk.
Exactly.
But it has to be with that information. It can't be blindly taking on something that we have got no idea. So I think this is a really good way of trying to
Thank you.
find it, because each case has to be on its own merit.
Thank you, Chair. I always believe, being a town councillor, to go with the known principles, and we are duty of care to spend residents' money wisely and frugally. And with this, I'm glad to see that with the toilets, that they've actually got all the surveys back. That just gave us a blank form there, go sign this, not all the questions we need to answer. So I believe that what the town clerk's done is a real good job, and it looks like that we will be looking at it shrewdly and making sure that we don't waste money in public funds.
Thank you. Right, this is obviously just a consider report. I don't need anything else. Councillor Thomas, we are then going to move on to 17.
I think what Councillor Byrne just said about things that need repairing. But the point is, if they come under Bexhill, they come under our control. If they come under some unitary authority, the toilets in Bexhill we're dealing with, but if the same is Rye and elsewhere, the unitary authority could easily say, well, we'll do those, so Bexhill have to wait. But we don't want to wait. We want total control of Bexhill.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Right, we'll move on. I'm going to move on. 16 should be part of
15B
really,
was kind of 16,
yeah.
so we're moving on to the
So I'm going to move on to 17. 17A is receive an update from the neighbourhood plan. I believe there isn't an update.
No further update.
Thank you. And then B.
Sorry, Chair.
Yes, Councillor.
Being a member of the working group,
yes,
I'm still unconvinced whether we need a neighbourhood plan for Bexhill. We've skirted around this and never actually done any investigative work. There's the initial work been handed to Rother that was rejected and now come back. And at some point, there's a massive commitment to having a neighbourhood plan for a town the size of Bexhill.
But we were informed that we may not even need a neighbourhood plan.
So that's where there isn't an update because I don't think none of us on that committee really know whether we should have a neighbourhood plan or not.
So should we ask the clerk to investigate?
I think we should do that again because when we first spoke about it...
What would I be doing for that?
So I believe that we've been told that we're not actually sure if we need... am I correct that the government are saying that we...
I can get expert advice.
18 months ago I was at an event at Brighton Hove Football Stadium run by East South and West South. There were 200 people there. There was a planning man who does the East South planning education, and lots of other people were suggesting with unitary authorities what is the benefit. And for a town of this size, when you've got 9 wards as opposed to... If you take a nearer town to us like Howsham, would probably cost 30,000 to do Howsham's. This would cost 100,000, 200,000. RFO might have some more numbers, but we haven't actually decided. We've been investigating. We don't know whether we need one or not.
I know this came up when I was standing in as interim town clerk, and obviously the previous documentation wasn't correct, and it was resolved that documentation was resubmitted, which I did do. I don't know what the outcome of that is, whether they've designated an area or not.
I think the area is designated, but we haven't decided as yet whether we need one.
And we've allocated 20,000 to a budget. Now, Howsham's neighbourhood plan costs over £100,000.
And theirs is a third.
And I know that for a fact.
And Howsham's a third the size of Bexhill.
So the easiest thing to do is we'll allow our town clerk to investigate if we need a neighbourhood plan and then go from there.
I think we should do during the next 3 months. Just
that's the feedback from the working group. No, that's the feedback from the working group. Right, listen to the feedback. We'll take the board. We'll see what we can do.
Sorry, Chair.
Councillor.
I mean, neighbourhood plans allow you to have 25% of SIL versus 15%. So maybe that is going to change if we don't, with unitary.
If there's no district,
Yeah, I think that is the clarification you need, because that's the big difference.
Yeah. So my discussion with Trevor Lego was that he believes that we're not even going to need one. So, but if we get clarity, I think the easiest thing to do, rather than discussing it now, is we'll get clarity from our town clerk, if that's okay.
Thank you.
There's no point discussing it now.
No,
Okay. Thank you.
Do you need a motion and a...
No, that's fine. That's fine. That was the update. Okay. So we'll take it as the update.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think that's the easiest thing. There's no point discussing it because
agreed.
Yeah. Thank you. So I'm going to move on to 17B.
So redeclare interest as chairman of Rother District Council Planning Committee.
Would you like to go? Yeah.
Redeclare as a potential one of them. What's the first one?
The
pecuniary interest.
Yeah. Okay. Are you going to stay? Are you?
I'm going to stay, and I wish to speak as well.
That's fine.
Declaration.
So it's to review and consider submitting comments. So shall I allow you to?
Yes. For those that were at the last full council meeting, this is a very sneaky introduction to change 9 of the 18 static sites that they have there, and they're very palatial. They're 3-bedroomed cabins with external bars with all the bubbles and all the rest of it, and they are for sale, which is a breach of their planning permission. So about 7 weeks ago they put a planning notice on the post outside the entrance. Residents in the area are meant to cross over a very busy road. Many of us are elderly. My neighbour's 94. She can't cross the road. It is too dangerous. They've accepted that as a full and efficient serving of notice to the neighbourhood. The group that are preparing a battle for the planning application, they weren't even advised of it. We only found out about it about a week ago. I brought this to full council because I think it's an appalling thing that they're trying to do. They have tried twice to change the planning up there. Both have lost on appeal. Once they tried to do it to have only over 55s and have another 30 units. That was thrown out, and they had another planning application turned down. Why they want to make a planning to change half of them into residential is pointless. It's not right for that environment. There are no shops anywhere near it. It is not connected into Bexhill, Ninfield or anywhere in the community, and they've gone with this because of the other application that has gone in and it's been missed because everyone was focusing on the 370 houses that were being built just over the corner. And it's only me calling it into this council that's made people aware of it, and recently I've made locals aware of it, and I'm declaring an interest because I live right opposite the entrance to it. So it will get more people there because there will be 9 of them permanently occupied. Currently they have about 3 or 4 occupied at any one time. It's a failing site, which is why they're trying to dispose of it and sell on.
Okay, thank you.
So we should object.
Councillor Jacklin.
I would support your motion to object. We overlook a pub next to which there used to be weekend caravans, and then at one point they suddenly became prefab homes, and I don't know how we missed it, and I think it's wrong. I'm also slightly perplexed about this trend to prefab homes for the over 55s. It's almost as if they want to house us in different kinds of accommodation, but that's a different issue.
That assumes you're over 55.
So we've had a proposal to object, and that's been seconded, Chair. So any other comments, and then we'll take the vote, I think.
Councillor
To object to this planning application, do we not need to object on specific terms?
Yeah, so we'd like to know what they are.
So, Councillor Plym, do you have... Councillor Wilson, sorry.
Exactly the terms as we objected to the 373 houses at the last full council meeting, which are in the minutes.
Okay, so the same.
Same process as that one. Okay, that's fine.
And you can add to that potential antisocial behaviour as well, because if only half of them are occupied against, you could get antisocial behaviour.
Councillor Peters.
We'd have to just amend that slightly because I believe that I added a section on about it being unallocated land, so you'll have to read that part.
Yeah, I'll accept that amendment.
No, we'll accept with the additions. Just to have that clarity so we know what to do.
Seconded by Councillor Jacklin. Can I have a show of hands to support that, please?
Unanimous, Chair.
Thank you. Can we have Councillor Drayson back?
Oh, no, sorry, he comes back after second. Another one. No, sorry. You've got to do 17C first.
Sorry.
This should be simple.
Okay, so C. Would anyone like to start on this? Councillor Plym.
Yeah, I think as a town council we should wholeheartedly support this initiative. The reason I had sent round to all councillors the objection that was put into the planning portal was because it was from Hastings Borough Council, who had a vested interest on not having a mugger and leisure facility on their boundary. They'd rather promote their own cause, and they've used Rother's policy documents and policy statements against them on this thing. To be honest with you, it's what the people of Bexhill have been crying out for a long time, and I believe Councillor L there had been talking about it previously, and we were trying to develop something ourselves. This is going to develop exactly what you were asking for several weeks ago on through this council. So I think we should wholeheartedly support this application.
Here. Thank you.
That proposal, that sounds like it was seconded.
Seconded by Councillor Crotty.
And vote to support.
Vote, please. Thank you.
Okay, perfect.
Anyone against? Anyone? No.
Well done, Chair.
Thank you very much.
Grayson, can you come back now?
Councillor Drayson, yeah.
Just to say, if you're right about time, 8:30, so if you want to, we could defer 20 or 21 if you want. You might have enough time. It might be alright. Definitely might do 20. Definitely got to do 24. Taking place. These they might not take long actually. So we've got 40 minutes. We need a bit.
It's just got a bit of time to do this in the next 6 months. It's just basically reaffirming what we're already doing. So
I'll refer it. You can speak about it. Okay, thank you.
18. Could I just explain for the people watching why I leave?
Yes.
Briefly, of course. The experienced town clerk and up to 17 of my colleagues are more than capable of coming up with planning decisions or planning reasons to support or object to applications without me. I could stay, not take part and not vote. Those who know me know that I would not be able to keep quiet and that would be too difficult. And it also means that should those applications come to the committee, I can still chair that committee and don't have to leave the room at Rother. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, thank you. I'm now going to move on to Rother District, number 18, to receive report on licence for public toilets. I believe that's Appendix N.
Yes, that's Michelle's report update on the toilet.
Would anyone like to?
Obviously, back in January, you deferred the delegated authority to me as Deputy Clerk to wait pending the documentation before signing the licences for the public conveniences that were mentioned at that time. I can confirm that I have all the information as listed in the table below. I haven't provided it because obviously I provided a lot of it to you last time. It's quite a lengthy, I'm wasting millions of trees printing all that out for you. From my point of view, I'm happy we've got everything. Basically, we've been doing this pretty much since April 2025 anyway. They're the same toilets that we're obviously looking after and maintaining at the moment. Obviously, Devonshire Square and Channel View East is different. Devonshire Square is a different kettle of fish completely. And Channel View East is the lease that I'm hoping to get to you in July. There is still some queries that I've raised with them on that, which I'm waiting for a response from Rother. I agree with Councillor Tempe. It's quite a challenging role dealing with legal, to be fair, and everything takes a long time. So basically I'm asking you, with the delegated authority that you gave me back then, if you are happy that I'm happy, are you happy for me to sign?
Somewhere in there, isn't it?
Yes.
I'm delighted that we've got this on a page and a half, and that my suggestion to delegate it has worked with this town council, and thank you for the work you've done. I've got one question. The toilets in Bexhill-on-Sea Road.
Basically, the amount of money it would cost to get them fit for purpose to open to the general public, and that, you know, this is transparency
so
to the public.
We're not having it.
We're not at the moment. Eventually, they may be through devolution asset transfer, which would be a whole different, situation.
So
but for us to open them toilets, you're talking of a lot of money.
So that's parked over
because they're so dilapidated.
Thank you.
Do you need us to?
Propose and second that they're happy for me to sign.
So can we propose that we're happy for our applicant sign?
I'm happy to propose it.
Councillor Wilson, Councillor Tempe is second. And can I have a show of hands for a vote, please? Unanimous. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so that's done. I believe that's what you're waiting for. So I'm going to move on to 19, which there are no updates. If you do have an update, as I say every time, just please send that in before the meeting, please. 20A, we're going to defer that to September. And then B, Councillor Flynn.
Yeah, so sorry, I'm happy to step in here, Councillor Plim, to say.
Are you happy to speak?
Yeah, I'm happy to speak. Yeah, I just didn't know, have we got time, or do you want me to
We do have time. We've got 35 minutes, so yeah.
Is it okay for me to?
Yeah.
Right, now, this is all regarding an email that was sent to myself, Councillor Crotty and Councillor Winter. A member of public contacted us and said they were very concerned about the amount of empty barber shops, empty vape shops and various other sort of activities that are taking place with shops. And they brighten up the high street, they brighten up whatever street they're in, there's no doubt about that. And they make it look sort of really, really busy. But then when you look inside them, they're not busy. And so nationally, that's been a problem. And a report was brought out to highlight the problem that is hidden behind a lot of these fronts. I wouldn't say all of them, a lot of these fronts. And there's serious organised crime behind a lot of these fronts. Just to take from the report, in some areas, as many as half of the mini-marts, convenience stores and vape retailers, and up to a third of American candy stores, and 1 in 4 fast food takeaways are estimated to have links with organised crimes. Now, our public are looking at this, looking at the newspaper reports, looking at the television reports, and are now questioning within our own town. Bexhill has been slow to be affected by this particular phenomenon, but it's hitting our public and they are asking questions, hence the question that came to me to raise it within the council and to ask everybody here, what can we do? There are recommendations within the report, and they are sort of working with the police authorities, with the licensing authorities, and with Rother District Council and various other organisations to ensure that these retail units do not act as fronts, that they are legitimate. And so I think we need to ensure our public and tell our public, once we're confident that they are legitimate fronts, legitimate shops, so they are confident to walk through their high streets while these things are happening. So I don't know how we would, perhaps the clerk, who's probably had better experience of this, has read through the report and probably experiences with other councils, can give us some advice as to what we can do within our powers as a town council.
I've got something just before I pass over to the town clerk, if that's okay, because we spoke about this in our meeting. And actually my idea was, I don't know if that's possible, but especially vape shops, could we limit the amount of vape shops? So talk to licensing and say, you know, because vaping isn't the best thing in the world, we know that. We know that it's not something that we want too many of, should I say. Is it something that we can do? It may be, and it may be. I think Councillor Drayton's saying no, so I'm guessing it's a no. So that was my idea, but obviously it's a no. So Councillor Drayton, yeah.
So the thing with licensing and planning, several years ago, the government decided it's not our job to interfere in business. If 20 vape shops want to open next door to each other, they can, and 19 of them go out of business. That's life. It's not down to the councils to say you can only have 2 in the street. Same with planning.
I will. Obviously, Councillor Drayton has answered that, so I don't want a discussion on that if that's the case. So, Councillor Crotty.
Thank you, Chair. We have trade and standards involved with all this. We're doing the searches. The only thing I would disagree with trade and standards is that they seem to advertise that they're going to be in the area a week in advance, which is a bit silly. They go to Hastings and then they say, oh, well, then people know that they're coming over here. So I think trade and standards and they do a spot check quite easily. It's only Sussex Police. So
that's what I have.
Obviously, Councillor Drayton just said it's not down to the council to get involved in who sets up what business. Is it down to us to get involved with criminal organisations and organised crime? Shouldn't it be something that's really dealt with by the police, by the maybe by the licensing authorities,
But what can we do, really, apart from lobby it to the police?
I guess that's what Councillor Pym was asking, but I'll go around the room and I'll pass over to our town clerk if he has another answer. Councillor Byrne?
Yeah, we're mixing various things up here. In terms of vapes, there's the problem of imported vapes that don't meet the right standards. That I don't think is the biggest problem. The big problem is these shops which appear to be trading. You can tell from the amount of customers they're not really trading. However, they're paying business rates, they're laundering money, and by laundering it, they are putting it through our tax system, so the government is getting a take on this illegal money, which it doesn't get if this money is moved via crypto or moved via various international organisations where money transactions are completely off grid.
Sorry, Chair,
So it's,
we just say allegedly?
Of course. Yeah, allegedly. No, I'm just saying how it may work. I haven't said any particular establishment may be doing this.
He did say some. He didn't say all.
Yeah,
no, I'm just saying.
No, I'm reasonably careful. One doesn't like to get into legal wrangles, does one, Andrew?
No, well,
picking up Councillor Plym's point, really, yes, what could we do? But let's not get scaremongering. What harm does this do to our communities? I don't like organised crime, of course not. And I think I'd rather they were trading from shop fronts than trying to launder their money in via the local dog track or putting in more high-priced betting shops or whatever. It's a moral issue. I think that's why the government are not coming down hard on it. At least that way they get some take of the money. In the same way as local casinos, who spends their money at the local casinos? The local drug dealers. And again, via betting tax, via betting tax. Not that we have any local drug dealers, but there are areas where it is documented that gentlemen who've made their money from selling illegal substance spend it down at the local casino, and at least the government gets a take on that. So I think that's why the government has an ambivalent, and the police have an ambivalent idea, a ambivalent approach to that, because unless we can stop the criminal behaviour that generated the money in the first place, the way it is laundered is not always to the detriment of the local society in which it's laundered. So, I don't know. Right.
I'm not going to comment on that.
Well, you're a businessman, of course you wouldn't.
Councillor Jackley.
So I think it is an important issue. I think the way in which we can help is by getting some clarity as to what the exact illegal activity is happening and which of that activity is happening here and who might do something about it on what grounds. So perhaps it's a bit similar to the meeting we supported where the police looked at local businesses in the DISC system, which may or may not have produced any results, but we need a bit of clarity. I wouldn't propose that Bexhill became a money laundering free trade zone.
Thank you. I'm going to move on. I think I'm on the side of Councillor L here that do we need to do anything? I mean, it's probably, but I'm going to go to Councillor Wilson.
Thank you, Chair. I was at a meeting last Friday, the quarterly neighbourhood board meeting at Carpers there as well, and EDEAL, which is the Eastbourne Chamber of Commerce, have just done a detailed report paid for by partially the District Council and partially the neighbourhood board, with a view around regeneration in central part of Bexhill. I'm not sure whether it is available for public use yet, but I will clarify after this meeting that some of the numbers that came out were really quite scary. The average amount of empty properties are 8%. The central area of Bexhill, which includes Sackville-Sea Road, Devonshire Road, and all of that sort of square, the central square, that currently stands at, surprisingly, 12.5%. And the all-encompassing bit that I took away from that session was the high street is changing. We have to work with what there is there, and what you're finding on the high street is everything that you can't buy on the internet, and that includes these vape things, never done it, cheap fags, don't do it, all the stuff that you can't literally go into a Tesco's or go into a corner shop or get. You have to go somewhere. So there's nail bars, there's beauty salons. The high street will be just based around. So if, and I don't know enough about it, I don't know whether it's organised crime or whether they're proper businesses or not, but if there was a rallying cry to shut all of these businesses down, your percentage of empty shops would be less. You'd have less customers coming into the town to spend in other places, etc., etc. And I'm not saying I agree with it, but that is the fact that has been presented to both myself and Adam last Friday, that says that we need to work with what we've got and encompass the way the high street is changing. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. I'm not sure I agree with it, but that's a fact.
I wasn't suggesting for 1 minute we close all vape shops down. What we need to do is give our residents confidence that these shops that we have in our town are legitimate and do not hide the exact problems that are detailed in this report. It will be extremely surprising if the same percentage of shops highlighted in this report are not reflected in Bexhill at the moment. I hope they're not, but it'll be extremely surprising if they're not. So I just want this council to be aware of it, and in order to, maybe the clerk can then come back to us at a later stage and say, well, these are the people you can liaise on. There's various things they say on here, like deal with awareness campaigns and community engagement and working with different agencies. So if we can try and get something moving to positivity for Bexhill.
Thank you. We are now very limited on time, so Councillor Drayton.
Very briefly, I didn't think I was going to talk about the Cray twins when I left home tonight, but we were in danger there of saying they only mess with the bad guys, so it was all right for the good guys. It isn't a moral issue, it's a criminal issue. It's not victimless, we're all victims, and it's clearly a matter for police and inland revenue. We should be involved, we should be aware, but that's got to be fairly on there.
Yeah, and that's what Councillor L said, is it up to us? Councillor L, as quick as we can.
Sticking behind it, I agree with Councillor Flynn, we need to do something, well, we need to talk about it, but I think that's where it stops really, because it's not in our remit to give this confidence to the residents. We can't say, be confident, walk down the street, you're fine, and then 2 days later we find out one of the vape shops is, for example, something like this. It's not in our remit to do that, we can't do it.
Yeah, and I'd like to add as well, we're just saying vape shops, but please, it's not.
Other
So
businesses.
we need to be aware of that. So I am going to pass over to our town.
So I've got a suggested motion. Obviously, we're conscious of time now. So just quickly, the town council expresses its concern at some of the conclusions of this report and welcomes the opportunity to work with other agencies on these matters.
Yes,
I'm happy to propose that.
I'm happy to put that.
And I'd like to second.
Could I suggest, and the Chamber of Commerce, other agencies and the Chamber of Commerce?
Yeah, that's fine. Absolutely fine, Councillor Wilson.
Chamber of Commerce
expresses its concern at the conclusion of this report and welcomes the opportunity to work with other agencies, including the Chamber of Commerce, on these issues.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, forwarded, seconded.
Yeah, and then the vote please on that. Thank you. Anyone against? Anyone abstaining?
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Right, we can move on. These are just literally information there. So 21 are the Bexhill Roaming Speed Watch are just saying they're very grateful for the purchase of our speed gun, which Councillor Wilson mentioned earlier. So yeah, just to note.
Sorry, could I just ask a quick question?
I just want to say very quickly, do we have any say in or direction? I think we do on where they go. So a point was made earlier about Coodon-Sea Road. I know that's for the old lines across it, but I'm not sure they've worked there from what I've seen.
They have.
They have, okay. But also, and I know many people don't agree with it, but I'd like to see them doing the 20 mile an hour in the town centre. Bearing in mind it's not a prosecution, it's a letter. People need reminding. That little bit of Bexhill is 20 miles an hour.
Okay, Councillor Flynn.
I'd just like to ask, the really good thing they're doing there, but who decides where they go? Because it seems extremely localised. Extremely localised. So are these people just getting the gun out of the cupboard and walking out to their front garden and doing it from there? Because that's counterproductive. We need them to be spread around the whole town.
Maybe we could ask them.
Exactly.
Exactly.
We'll take that feedback back. No, I'll just make them feedback noted. We'll take that forward. Thank you.
So our town clerk will go back to them and just say, could they give us maybe over the map and point in different areas of where they are?
Or speak to us.
Or speak to us. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Councillor Temple.
Yeah, I was in at the beginning of this one, Speed Watch, and they respond to request. If you want, like if you want your road done, or you want your road done, and they try to put it into the schedule. But it all, they're all volunteers, so it does become a time issue for things. But I think having provided the speed gun, which is great, I'm so thrilled about that. That we could ask them to give us some sort of schedule, or could you concentrate here? So
Thank you.
That it's a great report.
Thank you. Right, I'm going to move on now because we are limited on time. So 21B, again, just thanking us for our support, and that's the Bexhill Youth and Community Centre.
Really good report.
So they're thanking us for the support.
It'd be nice if we got more support like this, letters like this, information to show that the money's going to great causes and doing well.
Yeah, I'm sure
Could we advertise this on our social media front?
We have advertised, we've done that.
This particular report?
Yeah, I'll check with Tom. Maybe he's going to do it. I got a yes to the question, Councillor. I'll check with him if he's done it.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Because we should share what
100%.
people get up.
Thank you very much. Moving to risk register, to consider any new risks to be added to the risk register.
Nope.
Councillor Chaplin.
Yeah, so we had a legal action and part of our costs are to be rebated. Is whether or not we will get all of those costs rebated at a risk, and should that be on the register? Not the councillor who was responsible for the legal action, but the likelihood of getting the costs rebated.
I do understand Councillor Jackson's point. I think that I guess the amount, I'm not sure the amounts involved will be material enough to go onto a risk register. The honest answer to that.
Accepted. Thank you.
Do take his point, but I think it's not material.
Thank you. Date of next meeting, Wednesday, 29th of July 2026. So it'll be.
You're going to do
well done, Chair.